Tonight for dinner we're having lasagna. So we already started a huge pot of water. We're waiting for it to boil so we can add the noodles in. I did 2 pounds of ground chuck. You can add sausage if you would like. There is actually no wrong measurements. Just don't over salt and pepper this. So right now all I have is salt, pepper, and some parsley. Not a whole lot of parsley, but some parsley to give it some taste. We are preheating the oven to 350. We have 3 things of lasagna noodles. I use both of these sauces. This is Prego and Ragu. Ragu's a more heartier sauce. Prego's a more sweeter sauce. So I will be mixing that half and half throughout the recipe. We are going to make a cheese lasagna and a hamburger lasagna. We're going to use foil pans to make cleanup a little easier. And as you see, the hamburger's starting to cook up. The water's starting to boil. It's almost time to drain our hamburger. It's getting pretty done. It's still got a little bit more to go. Water's still trying to boil. We're going to go ahead and strain the hamburger. So we strain the hamburger, and we're putting it back in the pan. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and crack these open. So for the meat sauce, we're doing half Ragu. It don't have to be exact. And half Prego. So this is the meat lasagna. We're just going to turn it down, let it simmer while we're waiting for the noodles to get done. So the water is boiling. We're going to go ahead and add our first box of noodles very slowly to the pot. And we'll turn it down, not all the way, we'll turn it down to 6 so they don't boil over. We cook this for 10 to 12 minutes. So we are going to do 10 minutes. We'll go ahead and throw the second box in now. We don't want them to stick together. That's why we're doing 1 box at a time. Now we're going to add the 3rd box very slowly so we don't get burnt. We're going to make sure that these are coated so they don't stick together too. Okay, we'll let those cook. We're going to start our ricotta cheese mixture. Because I'm making 2 lasagnas, I need the big one. We need 4 eggs with this. So 4 eggs into the ricotta cheese mixture. And that's what the eggs and ricotta would look like. So now we're going to add in some pepper. I just put enough to dust on the top. Some salt. And parsley. Parsley, I lightly coat the top of it. Now you're going to take a whisk and whisk it all together. After it's all whisked together, this is what it'll look like. It'll be runnier, not thick like it was when it came out of the container. We have to check on our noodles so they're not sticking together. And see, these ones are wanting to stick together. So you just slowly pull them apart. Yes, they're very hot. I actually forgot to set the timer. So we'll check it at the 7-minute marker. You will need a big bag of mozzarella cheese. And we do Italian style cheese because it has all the good yummy cheese in it. The Regno, Parmesan, Fontino, Asiago. We use that in the cheese lasagna along with the regular mozzarella. Then we have a little bag of the Italian cheese too that we will be putting in the ricotta mixture. So we're going to mix that cheese in, which gives it a more thicker batter now. I also put in a Tuscan blend of more cheeses for the cheese lasagna. You can actually put in whatever cheeses you want. They're all looking really good. We're going to start with just 2, getting them prepped. We do a little bit of Prego and a little bit of ragu. We like to line the pan real good with the sauce. So now all we're doing is waiting for the noodles. Again, whatever is your favorite spaghetti sauce, you can do whatever you want. I just like to do an even balance because the noodles really soak up the sauce. So I do half hearty, half sweet. A couple more minutes and then we will take the noodles out and run them in cold water. Since this one is our cheese lasagna, I'm going to go ahead and throw this in. It reminds me that this is the cheese one. And our hamburger mixture looks really good. Now if you want to bypass doing the boiling part of the noodles, you can buy oven ready noodles, but they're a more chewier noodle than the boiled noodles. And we are done. Now time to turn it off and start the cold bath process. So the cold bath process, all it is you take a strainer, you take the noodles, slowly dump them in, spraying cold water on them. I swirl them around so we can make sure we get them all cooled down. That way they stop the cooking process for right now. So we got the first batch of noodles cooling with the water. We're going to dump it in this pan. Then we're going to start the next batch. This is what we're doing. We're going to go ahead and start the meat one and layer the noodles in. I like to overlap mine a little bit. That's what the first layer will look like. And we are going to start the cheese bottom. Okay, now that we have that, we're going to take our ricotta cheese mixture, 2 scoops. And it don't have to be perfect. Now we add another layer of noodles. And that one is the cheese one again. This is the hamburger one. So here we add the hamburger in. This is the cheese one. So we're going to add the shredded. And then we're doing the Italian one next. You put that on. Both of them. And we like ours a little extra saucy, so we're going to go ahead and sprinkle some of the sauce on it. Like I said, you don't have to be perfect. This is something fun. Now we're going to do another batch of noodles, and eventually you would have to add another one the way the pan extends. So then when you get all the noodles, that's when you flatten out all the stuff. Okay, we add in, next layer is another layer of the ricotta. And since this one's a cheese one, we do a little bit more ricotta than we do on the meat one. But if you like ricotta, go for it. Put it all over it. We're going to put the noodles down again. So this one will be the meat again. This is the final layer for the meat. Now with the cheese one, more ricotta. More the 6 cheese. And the rest of that bag. We're going to go ahead and add some more sauce. More of the 6 cheese on top of this one. We're going to add the final layer of the meat noodles. And then we're adding just a little bit of sauce on top. We add the mozzarella on top. And that is the meat one. Now to finish off the cheese one, we're doing our sauce. Now we're going to add in the mozzarella for this one. And then we're going to finish off the top also with the Italian cheese. We have to put foil over top of that. And the lasagnas are always so heavy. And there's also a chance of a spillover, which this one is a good possibility. I always use cookie sheets to set it on in the oven. To keep the cheese from sticking to the lasagna, you spray the paper with cooking spray. And I put a C for the cheese one. Now we will bake these for 60 minutes. 60 minutes. After 60 minutes, we'll pull the foil off and cook it for another 20 minutes. Okay, it's been 60 minutes, so we're going to take the foil off. And we're going to bake it for 20 minutes so the cheese will brown up. And the hamburger one did, in fact, boil over, which I thought it would. So by spraying the pan, very little cheese gets on the pan. We're going to put these back in for 20 minutes so the cheese will get nice and brown and gooey. But it's looking yummy. And we are going to turn the temperature up to 375 for 20 minutes. See you in 20 minutes. I thought I was videotaping, but I guess I wasn't. This is the cheese, this is the meat. It never comes out of the pan as good as it goes in. But this is the hamburger, this is the cheese. If you want it a little bit more browner, use the broiler. Put it on high, watch it, and then it'll get real crispy on top. Thank you for watching.